Stay around.
Brilliant speed with vibrant service, vibrant broadband internet.
Because it's that time of day. It's a Wednesday. It's at 10:30, and we've got our crew from Vibrant. Hey. It's all yours.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm okay. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's hump
Gorgeous
day.
out.
Hump
Yeah.
day, hump day.
That's right.
Well, thanks for having us again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Jane.
I'm Shane.
And I'm Bo.
So last week after the show, when we went off the air, we were talking about frustrations with passwords and frustrations. So Shane took it upon himself to talk about that this week. So it's all about what you want to hear tonight.
There you go.
I know that last week you'd mentioned
I've
that.
seen the boss walking around here about 15 minutes ago.
Oh, I know. He's
Oh,
like,
yeah?
I think we got passwords done. I think we got
Yes.
passwords.
Passwords were the key this morning.
Nice. Well, that's great because
segue.
that's what we're going to be talking about today. Remember in school, you had a locker, and on that locker was a combination lock. Only you knew the combination of that lock, right? For the most part. I'm sure the janitor had a master key or whatever, but you kept that combination to yourself. That way nobody could get in your locker and take your stuff. Remember that? Well,
Used it. Yeah.
Yep. Well, that's what a password is. A password, it's the combination lock that lets you get into your digital accounts, your Amazon account, your bank accounts, Netflix, Disney Plus, all that fun stuff, right? Every website you register now, you sign up for, it requires a password. Well, 20 years ago, most people only had a handful of sites that they maybe registered. There wasn't a lot of online banking back then. You might have had a Netflix account or maybe a YouTube or Gmail. Wasn't that many. And most people at that time probably used the same password to get into all 5 of the sites that they registered, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, now...
You're not supposed to do that?
No, well, it probably wasn't a good idea back then, but certainly not a good idea today, right? So, yeah, it's something that we used to do, but we can no longer do that.
Yeah, and there's a reason why it's not a good idea. It's not just that we want people to memorize a ton of passwords. It's because cyber criminals are looking to get those passwords and get those email accounts. So a lot of times they don't steal it themselves. They'll buy it from someone that's already hacked a business or an account, and they'll try to match up passwords and emails, and they have an algorithm and a program they can run to get the emails to match with the passwords. And when they find some that match, they use them to get into your bank account, to even something as small as your Netflix account. But I mean, it's annoying to get your bank account hacked, but it's really annoying when you really want to watch Netflix and someone hacked it. So I wouldn't want either one, but both are pretty frustrating. And the biggest reason is they want to steal your money, they want to steal your identity, just like all cyber criminals do. So we really want to stay on top of the passwords, and by that I mean making it a little more complicated than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and also changing them a little more often. And Jane's going to go into one of the things that is probably a little more common now that helps cyber criminals not be able to get into those accounts.
So to add to the password craziness and the pandemonium, I love that word, Shane, pandemonium.
Pandemonium.
It's the multi-factor authorization. So it's another layer of protection, and most people are irritated with it. I know that every time I go to log into my bank account and I have to wait for my text to come into my phone, it irritates me, and then I always think about this show, and I always think it's for your benefit.
That's right. Do what you're told to do.
So basically, a multi-factor authorization is so after you enter your password, you're given some information, and then you have to select, yes, please send me this code, and you have to select either it's going to be going to your email or your phone. So when you select that, then basically it comes back in a text message. And so some of them sometimes they're really cool. You can already just click on them. You don't even have to enter the number. So I love that part of it now. They're kind of getting better with that.
Yep.
Other times it's you have to copy and paste and drop it in. So it works. It's great. So that's gotta love that I can never say
Multi-factor, yeah.
MFA.
MFA, that's
Yep.
the...
And it's basically, again, it's just another layer to get the criminals, the cybersecurity, to make it better, and the criminals to stay away from your stuff.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, so if you do get a code in your text, but you didn't go try to log into that account, don't authorize it. because that's what it's there for. It's to protect you. That means somebody else is trying to get in your account. They've sent that code. It's come to you. But if you didn't, like, say, you know, whatever, Amazon doesn't do it, I don't think. But your bank, let's say your bank sent you a code. Just don't do that. And then maybe call the bank and say, hey, you know, somebody's trying to get my account. And then you'll have to take it from there.
I think it's common with like Disney Plus and Netflix. It's like there's somebody else that has added to your account. Is that okay with you? Or if it's not you, please do something about it, right?
Right, exactly. So how do you keep track of all these logins? That's the pandemonium. That's the craziness, right? I know a lot of people write down passwords on random pieces of paper in a notebook or, you know, sticky notes and whatever. And sometimes they'll write down a password, but not write down what it's for or even the login, right? So you get this random password sitting around and it's like, what is this for even? Well, it might be okay if it's just you and a spouse at home, right? And you rarely get visitors. But it's still not a good idea, right? Especially for bank accounts and shopping accounts, because if somebody can get into your shopping account, they could order themselves things and you wouldn't know it until either the next time you logged in.
Or you're broke.
Or you're broke, right? Or your credit card, you get your statement and it's like, what's this, right? And I hate to say this, but there's elderly people
like me.
What they can get taken advantage of by their own families. I mean, if you have maybe a teenager come in and they see some of these logins and stuff, that, you know, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it can happen, and there are studies that say that usually the families take advantage of the elderly more often than not. So it's not always just outside scammers. So a better way, rather than writing these down, is to keep them, like if you do write them down, keep them locked in a safe that you know the combination of, right? And then you can maybe pass that combination off to, you know, somebody you trust in the family if you pass on or whatever. But a better way is to use a password manager. And Bo's going to go into talking about password managers.
Before we do that, I know that there's a lot of people that we help set up accounts and passwords, especially with when they go to do their Roku account and their Netflix account and all that kind of stuff. And it's awesome that their families do help them out. But what ends up happening is they'll create an account, they'll create an email address for something, and they won't tell that person that they're doing that, or they won't share what the password is. So when we come to get involved and try to help because something's not working, now they don't know what they're doing and they don't know the password, they don't know the email address, they don't know anything. So if you're out there and you want to help your family, it's really important to give them all the information so that they can be educated and empowered with that knowledge.
For sure, and there's definitely a better way to do all this rather than having hard copies or just trying to remember every single password that you've ever made. And that would be a password manager, or some people call it like a password vault. And what that is it's an app or a program that you can subscribe to, and it keeps track of all your passwords. And all you have to know is the one master password to basically get you in the vault so that you can get all your other passwords auto-filled. So if you go into your banking website, it'll pull up your password vault or manager, and it'll hit approve, and it'll fill in the passwords. And it's not just making a basic password like we would make. It actually makes something very complicated. Usually it's just a jumbled string of letters and numbers that no one would be able to guess or hack. And so that's what we really recommend people use. We use it for work every day. I was a little hesitant the first time I used it because I was like, I don't know if I want to use something that has everything in one spot, but it's so secure. It's very easy. I remember working at Verizon, and there would be people that would come in and they would have a sheet of laminated passwords. And then I'd tell them, I'm sorry, you have to change this password. And I could listen to the sigh. It just lasted like a minute long. Like, I got to go relaminate this. And then on the other end, I'd had people with like a little notebook, and they open it up and it looked like caveman drawings with just emails and just passwords and a Post-it note with a bite taken out of it. And neither way is a good way to do it. So this is the easier, the up-to-date way. You can put it on your phone. You can put it on your tablet, your computers. It's just going to make your life a lot easier and a lot safer, too.
So which ones to use? That is the question. So basically, if you have an iPhone or an Android, there are some built-in apps that you can use. They're free. You can just use them on that. I know my iPhone, I use that one on my iPhone. The other thing is if you're looking for something different, you can do that two-factor authentication information. So those are free, and you can just help. They can help you autofill the login questions and different things. The drawback of that is that it's on their own ecosystem, right? So if you only have an iPhone, you can only use them on iPhone. So if you're going to go to a different computer, you're not able to do that with
like let's say you have an iPhone and then maybe a Windows computer. Well, an iPhone, the password manager that's built in an iPhone isn't going to talk to the Windows computer. So, you're going to have to either look at your iPhone and type it in on the Windows machine. But if you have a Mac and an iPhone and maybe an iPad, then all that works together. On the Android side, same thing with the Google. They have their own password manager, and it would work with anything in the Google ecosystem. And it might be a little bit more compatible with the Windows system at that point, but there are apps that will work across all platforms.
So have you used this app, the paid app, the
1Password? No, I haven't used 1Password, but that was recommended especially for people who are computer novices, or maybe people who aren't used to using these managers. It's I guess it's really simple to use and easy to use. There is a cost to it. I have used one called LastPass. I used that for many years, but now that Apple's got one built in, I'm using the Apple one because I have Macs at home and that kind of thing.
Dropbox must have one too.
No, Dropbox is its own.
I know it is, but doesn't that also have a manager of?
I'd have to look into that. I don't know.
I think that came up on one of these computers back here, and that was using Dropbox for saving, all kinds of other things in the cloud.
Yeah.
And then it was having. Pretty sure you can do that with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that'd be one to look into then.
Right.
RoboForm is another one. I used RoboForm, back in the early 2000s, like early. And that one's a good one as well. So there's a lot of them out there. A recent report. Basically, last week I saw this. There have been 16 billion passwords leaked online. So it's not a matter of if your password has been leaked, it's that it has been leaked, right? So what do we do now? Well, it's good that everybody probably goes in and checks their password, maybe even changes their password because of this huge data leak, right? Go and change your password, something different, something new. Use a password manager. Actually, it'd be a great time to, like if you do have them written down, right? Get the password manager set up. Go ahead and go to every website and then have it create a new password for you. That's probably the best thing to do now. If you're a victim of fraud or a scam or whatever, somebody logged in your account without your authorization, start with a phone call to local police or sheriff's department. I know that they want to hear about scams. They track that. The FBI does contact them and ask if the scam's been in this area. Make sure you do that. And then tell your family about it. Say, hey, you know what? This happened. I know that it can be embarrassing, but if your family knows, they can maybe help you stop that. Lock your credit accounts and that kind of thing. So do that for now, but make sure you use a password manager, and that'd be the easiest way to keep track of all this password pandemonium.
Ooh. So, events. We have a busy July. So this Saturday, Shane and I are going to be in the parade with our vibrant car, handing out candy. So,
wear a big brimmed hat.
It's going to be hot.
Well, it's going to be sunny.
It's always
It'll
hot.
be sunny, yeah.
It's hot. Yep, definitely. And then, if you guys need to know a little bit more about dreaming of streaming, that's where we talk about what it means to stream, what devices do you need to stream, what's the recommendation for you to, what subscription to use, that kind of stuff. We're going to be in Paynesville this time. It's going to be Wednesday, July 23rd at 5:30, and it's the Green Roof Community Center.
Good.
And then, speaking of being busy,
right.
We're going to be at the American Legion Car and Bike Night. We're sponsoring that event Thursday, July 24th. So come on out.
Good.
Yeah.
Looking forward to
Yeah,
it.
and if if you have any questions on when the events are, or if you have internet questions, obviously, or password questions on how you can use any of this that we've talked about, you just give us a call at the office. It's 320-693-3231. And you can learn more about us on our website, vibrantbroadband.com. And then we do replay these episodes on our Facebook page, on our YouTube channel. So if you have friends or family that might be interested, you can forward it to them. And as always, you can listen here live every Wednesday at 10:30 on KLFD.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, everybody listening. My name is Shane.
I'm Jane.
And I'm Bo.
Tune in next week for another Vibrant You Live.
Vibrant broadband internet. Vibrant broadband internet.